All right, well, ministers in the economic cluster are answering oral questions in the National Assembly. We're taking you live there now.
The recovery plan by the President, as announced and presented to all of us, and now our plan of action. It will be implemented in terms of the road infrastructure and as well as building rail capacity in the country. And you will understand that in terms of that, we talk about the old branch lines, which we will revitalize by implementing strategic compact partnerships through concessions with the private sector. And these examples are all over the country. You go to the Free State between Botshabelo and Tabanchu. There is a railway line there that is not utilized for passenger services, but it is there. So we will revitalize it as part of this plan. Of course, other bigger plans speak to the reimagined approach with regard to what we'll be doing in terms of the high-speed rail, and we are dealing with it as we speak now. But among others, will actually upgrade and also bring in new railing stock in different parts of the country where rail passenger services are actually needed and required and are of need for our people. So the infrastructure program focus on ensuring that we upgrade and revitalize the rail network, which is underutilized, through concessions with the private sector. But secondly, to also improve on the rolling stock. And those plans will go even beyond the next financial year. You talk about monorail, you talk about the new corridors of rail infrastructure. I don't want to talk about the Mpumalanga corridor and all of that, rather focus on what we are dealing with now, which is the high-speed rail, which in the next 2 years will have probably passed the feasibility study and also implementing that particular project for South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Hansinga.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, yes, intentions and plans and recovery plans, but can you mention one document that expressly explain the hows and the when and what of this plan in moving freight off the road and cargo off the road onto rail? Megatons of manganese and coal is being transported over several provinces to harbors in our country. Can you mention one document where formally it's expressed how and when and who and what will constitute this move from cargo on the road to freight? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
I have spoken about the 2017 road freight strategy, and at the present moment we are in the process of ensuring that the National Rail Policy Green Paper 2015 is actually revitalized, and we are able to adapt it to the current in terms of implementing our strategy of moving from road to rail going forward. So that will be coming. We will not be in a position to present to you as we speak, otherwise we will be giving you a pipe dream. But very soon we'll be able to present to Parliament and the Portfolio Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hlonishwa Sithole.
Angibonge kakhulu mhlonishwa mphathi wohlelo. Ngibonge ngibingelela ngiminister ke. Umbuzo wami uthi uma ikhona iminyakazo yokuthi kufanele kusukwe kulokhu ku-rain kuye ku-transport kuye kuma-road. Umbuzo uthi njengoba i-corruption ingaka, ubudedengu bungaka, nokulokhu nokunganaki kwezinto ezenzeka ivandalism eyenzeka ku-railway, ukuthi zikhona yini indlela zokuthi ke kulungiswe kuqala u-railway iqala kulungiswe njalo yama-metro rail indlela mhlawumbe laba hamba khona kwesikhuluma nami nje abantu abaningi abasebenzi ngenxa zokuthi i-vandalism yenzeke kakhulu manje nanokuthi-ke uma kukhona iy'nhlelo zokuthi abantu kukhona ukuthuthwa mhlawumbe kwey'mpahla zisiwe kulokhu zisuke ku-road zisuswa ku-road ziya ku-rain ngabe ikhona yini indlela yokuvimba ukuthi abantu ngaleso sikhathi uma kwenzeka lokho bangalahlekelwa amathuba omsebenzi njengoba kubonakala ukuthi umsebenzi awukho nje. Angithokoze kakhulu.
Sithokoze Mhlonishwa Ngqongqoshe.
Umsebenzi wami kakhulu ukuthi ngisuse i-goods is emgwaqweni and put it on rail working with Transnet. So that is a partnership between myself and the Department of Public Enterprise. But from my perspective, ensuring that we move people to rail and entice them to rail is what we will be implementing. And I've spoken about it through concessions, revitalize the underutilized rail infrastructure in the country and prepare it to transport people and expand the rolling stock in those particular areas. Good innovation of that will include things like monorail. Into ongazange uyibone Mhlekazi ngizawuze ngikuse kuyo uyibona pha eMalaysia into enhle kakhulu ukuthi uzobona lo mnyakazo wemonorail ubona abantu baseSoweto ngobuningi babo okanye eMlazi begibela imonorail ukuphangela kuyo emsebenzini into enhle kakhulu esizoza ngayo sifake la kulomnyakazo wokususa abantu emgaqweni bahambe ngololiwe into esizoyenza leyo nokuthi silungiselele ushishino into ze freight zingakwazi ukuthi zihambe ezindleleni zivale umgwaqo njalo njalo into esiyenza sisebenzisana neTransnet ukuthi silungiselele i-railway network yethu ukuthi ikwazi ukuabsorba the freight and goods on our network. Ngumsebenzi lo siwenza no Minister Pravin Gordhan lo ukuya phambili. Ngiyathokoza.
Sithokoze Mhlonishwa. Honorable Sheikh Imam, NFP.
Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, as much as I want to be optimistic, we must be honest, this plan of yours is going to take a long time. In the meantime, many accidents take place by road currently due to heavy vehicles as a result of road driver fatigue. Most of these accidents take place during the early hours of the morning or late hours of the night. There is no measures put in place by your department or the police to deal with testing for fatigue and things on the road. What measures can you put on these roads to ensure that these super links and things keep a distance to each other? Because when they all travel in a convoy, it's so difficult for vehicles to overtake that results in people becoming impatient, and that's why you find so many accidents taking place in the early hours of the morning or late hours. Can you put some measures in place at the moment while we get this plan of yours going, Mr. Minister?
I think we are not opposed to any measures, and we have not explored that. And I think from the suggestion of the member, it is something that is worth exploring. In the meantime, we implement and doing all the other things. We should be in a position to look at what can be done to ensure that we release traffic on our roads. That is as a result of freight and logistics.
Thank you. We move to question 540. As to the Minister of Public Enterprises by the Honorable Kachalia of the DA. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. Before I answer Honorable Kachalia's question, let me confirm that we are at one with Minister Mbalula on the question of transferring goods from road to rail, and Transnet is certainly taking that into account in its business planning, and we'll see progress in that regard over the next year or so. In respect of Mr. Kachalia's question, we have received a considerable number of expressions of interest from potential financial institutions and other private equity partners and airline operators. These have been submitted to a transaction advisor for both assessment and engagement with these parties. The process has reached an advanced stage, and we expect the process to be concluded by late December, early January, or early 2021. Due to the sensitive commercial nature of these negotiations, we are unable to pronounce at this stage on the details of the expressions of interest. However, at the appropriate time, this outcome will be communicated. Notwithstanding this, notwithstanding the current and past difficulties of SAA, it must be noted that SAA has a highly credible reputation, both across the African continent and globally, and this clearly is an attractive proposition for the many expressions of interest that we've had. In relation to the second part of the question, in terms of SAA's debt and restructuring costs, as I've indicated before, the private equity partners have indicated very clearly that they will not take on any of these responsibilities. Therefore, it is a matter for the government to ensure that all these liabilities are paid for, including the restructuring costs of SAA. In respect of labor, after extensive consultations and discussions with labor unions in the Labor Consultative Forum, the reduction of staff numbers, the VSP and restructuring retrenchment packages, and the retention of the necessary staff for the new airline on new conditions of service have either been agreed or canvassed. The same applies to the payment of outstanding salaries to staff. As the funds become available, these obligations will be met, some of them before the end of the year. On the question of management, an interim management team is currently being put in place with the right aviation skills. This team will, in all likelihood, be complemented by an operational team brought in by the new partner next year. And furthermore, discussions are taking place currently on the transition out of business rescue for SAA. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I've been informed that the Chief Whip of the Opposition will take charge of the first supplementary question as asked by the Honorable Pachalia. Honorable Matsoni.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Minister Gordhan, I must say I'm happy that you agree with Minister Mbalula, and I think you should go one step further and let him take over SAA because it belongs with transport, so it shouldn't be with public enterprise in the first place. I also agree with you that at a certain time SAA was an attractive possibility, but Dudu Myeni messed up the Paris deal, and that's why she's sitting before the Zondo Commission, and you and I both sat and questioned her about that. So we know why SAA sits in the financial mess it's in today. So we mustn't try and paint a pretty picture when we both sat in that public enterprises hearing and we listened to the lies that came out. So now this goes on and on and on, and money just keeps getting paid out and paid out and paid out. And now we're told that there's a 10.5 billion rand bailout. But I have it on very good authority that 10.5 billion is the very conservative amount that we're looking at spending, and that in all likelihood it's going to go up to 16 billion rand that the South African taxpayer will have to fork out during the time of COVID and when we are effectively bankrupt in our country.
What is the question?
Young ladies, sit down and keep quiet. The adults are working. It would be very advisable for the minister to be honest with the South African public and tell us now, 10.5 billion, conservative estimate, or the real cost? Because we think it's closer to 16 billion. Thank you, House Chair.
Honorable members on virtual platform, people have got time assigned to them for the questions. So don't interrupt the person on the podium. That's my duty.
Chairperson.
Yes, honorable member.
Based on Rule 82, the Chief Whip has just called Honorable Shabalala a young lady. The adults are working. So basically, she's declaring her not being an adult. I think that is unparliamentary.
Honorable Matsoni.
Thanks, House Chair. I'll withdraw. She's an older lady.
Thank you very much for withdrawing without me asking. Honorable Chabalala, please switch off your mic. Any member who interferes will be warned once, and for the second time, you'll be removed from the platform. That is a warning to everybody. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. I don't know what to do in respect of the Honourable Member's question around being honest with the South African public, because I have always been honest and frank with the South African public. So any imputation otherwise is both unparliamentary and unwelcome and untrue. Secondly, the total cost of restructuring, notwithstanding the kind of verbal gymnastics she engages in, is 14 billion rands, 10.5 of which is required currently. Thirdly, what is this money going to be used for? It's going to be used to pay the retrenchment and VSP packages of the staff. Secondly, creditors that need to be paid, about 600 million rands. Thirdly, unflown ticket revenue. These are tickets that have been bought, paid for, but not utilized, as a result of which thousands of SAA customers are out of pocket, and we need to replace the funds that they've actually utilized. Fourthly, one hopes that she's done her homework, but that looks like the political rhetoric overtakes the facts. But she must say to the South African public whether it is liquidation that she prefers, because liquidation means each worker gets 32,000 rands and they go home maximum. Secondly, we lose all of the assets. Thirdly, the private sector picks up and cherry picks whatever assets it actually requires. So is the DA currently, Chairperson, working in cahoots with some airline or the other to see the demise of SAA? They must now be honest with the South African public and tell us where they stand in this particular regard. So we've been very factual and very frank in every parliamentary meeting about what these costs are about and why government has the responsibility. And in my initial response, I made that very clear also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mampiri, ANC.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo. Mohlomongwe ke thome ka hore ba lekgotla la DA a ba emele nako ya bona e fitlha ba tla ba kgona ho tšea SAA ba ishe ka kwa go transport rena re sa buša bjalo ka lekgotla la badimo le batho. Modulasetulo, minister ntumelele ke botšiše potšišo goba ke elane le molaotheo wa rena ke re, Honorable Minister, is the recapitalization of South African Airways part of government's legal and financial obligations as part of the business rescue process? My question is that what will be the recapitalization process achieve? And secondly, what process is being followed for enlisting a strategic equity partner, and will such a strategic equity partner wants to carry the responsibility of the current debts and other liabilities of the airline? Lastly, Chair, allow me to conclude by saying, if not, then will this assist improving the balance sheet of a new structured airline? Mazoni, you must be strong.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
House Chair, sorry, just a point of order. The Honourable Member must know that if she's going to call me Mazon, which is my surname, she must do it properly, which is Matsone, and it's honourable.
Thank you. That's not a point of order. Honourable Member, no, you don't do that. Honourable members, let's respect each other and let's understand that we are not masters of the pronunciation in our different languages. Honourable members, no, you can say it's English. We're not all good with pronunciation. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. It's actually Italian. So Mazzone is giving us a good lesson on how to pronounce Italian names. Thank you for that.
All right, ministers in the economic cluster, they're covering oral questions in the National Assembly. We heard from Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula earlier on, focusing on rail infrastructure, and I believe Minister Pravin Gordhan is focusing on airways there. Let's take a break. Headlines at the top of the hour, then we catch up, of course, with Natasha Piri, who is at the IEC, to talk more about the by-elections currently underway. Do stay with us here on SABC News.